Maybe I shouldn't have recorded this right after finishing it because all I can think about right now is how obsessed I am with this book.
Hi, I'm in the car, and if it's really loud and you're struggling to hear me, I apologize. So I'm going to try to limit how much I'm recording in here. But I fully intended on recording this vlog on my couch, as I do. But this boy has his big finale soccer game, so we're going to do a bit in the car. And then on top of that, because of how far away the game is and how late we'd be getting home, about 2 hours ago, we decided to make this a weekend trip, packed our bags, and got in the car. So that is the sitch. I am going to, for the first time ever, annotate a book. To me, writing in books has always seemed like a crime and something I would never do. But Book Talk convinced me. So this is Caraval by Stephanie Garber. I got this for Christmas from my mom. Thanks, Mom. And I am super excited. Annotating on the road might prove to be a little complicated, but we're still gonna go for it because I'm very dedicated to making this happen, even though I'm road tripping this weekend. So we are at Sebastian's soccer game. There he is in his jersey. I will say that I did not get much reading done on the road trip. I'm a very slow reader on the road, and plus Sebastian was playing like soccer game hype up music, which was so distracting. I will say that most of my annotations are handwritten, but I do have like a black post-it note in there because if I ever have like a theory or a really long-winded thought or something I need to get off my chest, I'll just write it on a post-it note and stick it. As for tabs, 3 of them are like in the same exact spot, so it's not very aesthetic looking yet, but once we get to the end of the book, hopefully it will look a lot better. There is Sebastian. Cutest little soccer player on the field. So it is the next day. Sebastian won his finals game, which was super exciting. I have not annotated at all since we got back from the soccer game. We just celebrated and we chilled. We are hitting the road to go home, so I'll annotate a little bit more in the car. I don't read very fast at all in the car, so I won't probably get much done, but we should be getting home around 3:34, so I think I'll be getting a lot done once we get home. A lot has happened in the last 5 hours. I did not read it all in the car on our way home. Actually, let me start back a little bit. When I recorded in the hotel room, I already wasn't feeling great. I had a bit of congestion. As soon as I got in the car, I realized I just started gradually feeling worse. I got coffee, drank my coffee, and then by the end of the trip, I knew that I was seriously sick. So why not just read? But that being said, I didn't touch the book at all. I felt so sick, like the idea of just reading while driving was not too great. I am now on page 46, which honestly isn't that far. It's about a 400-page book, almost exactly 400 pages. So let me walk you through the system. So the gold tabs, which honestly, I really just wanna go out and buy tabs because I'm using washi tape and it's not the easiest, and I know it doesn't look the nicest. I'm really only putting them on pages that I feel like have a significant amount or something that I really loved. I'm not putting on every page I annotate because honestly, I think I have at least one thing to underline on every single page. As for the top, you'll kind of see this tiny black sliver. So that is an entire theory. So I put that in a black post-it note in gold writing. And then I can easily like take it off if I want to reread the page. So those are my predictions. Or if I have a thought about something that's super long-winded, there was a quote that I thought was really telling about the values of a character who up until this point I was kind of confused on where they stood. So I just wrote out like, I think this sentence is revealing that what this character considers her strength is actually her biggest weakness and biggest insecurity. and I kind of wrote how I think that will like affect her throughout the rest of the book, and how I hope that the author kind of uses this as like her growth moment. So it's kind of a prediction and also a deeper thought. But as for underlining and highlighting, I underline in red specifically for anything regarding relationships. You know, anytime I feel like there's a moment between characters, I highlight it. So anything that gives me warm and fuzzy feelings. The highlighter is like, it made me feel something, it made me emotional, or if it changes my opinion about a character. So it's kind of like a bigger deal if I use the red highlighter. Which leads me to black. I am underlining some things in just plain black pen, and this is pretty much just anything that sticks out to me. You know, if I just have any sort of reaction, I'll actually write that in the margins and underline it. Now the gold, which by the way, underlining in a gold pen, it just does something to the book. It's beautiful. This is like the black pen, but to the extreme. Kind of like with the red pen and the red highlighter, this is like the highlighter version of black. If it is a quote that I go back and I reread and I'm just like, wow, that was good. If there's just something that just really sticks out to me and I want to be able to go back to it, I am underlining it in gold. Anytime I have like a hold up, wait, what? One of those moments, I highlight it in gray. I only just started doing it like this, so I'm sure there's some that I miss in the first couple chapters. Moments that get a really good reaction out of me are things that I feel like are plot twists, turning points in my perspective on the book. Any like mental dialogue that I'm having while reading this, or any reactions, I'm writing it down in the book, in the margins. I actually am really enjoying it. I am becoming really obsessed with annotating. My biggest struggle is that I don't feel like I can ever just like bring this book places and just pick it up. It feels like it has to be much more intentional, which I enjoy, but it is gonna take me a lot longer to read the book. But I do have about an hour and a half, almost 2 hours set aside where I am just going to read and annotate. So y'all can join me for that.
Like your smile in the morning, following the linings on your cheek.
I feel significantly worse, even though I've taken Sudafed. I took 2 doses of Sudafed and I still feel horrible. I've been chugging water, but I think in all reality, I need to just like take a hot bath or like an Epsom salt soak or something and just go to bed because I feel horrible right now. I wanted to do most of this weekend. Clearly that did not happen. We are in 8th through this book. So I guess we're gonna hit home tomorrow. We're gonna crank this out. So I will see you then. I don't think I could be less emotionally prepared to talk about this right now. It has been a week since we last chatted. I was horribly sick for about 3 days and then I was recovering for the next 3 to 4. So here we are next Saturday. And I just finished probably one of the best books I have read in a very long time. I have not felt this way reading a book since I felt reading Harry Potter for the first time. Since reading The Selection for the first time. All of the books that you love and consider classics that you wish you could reread for the first time. The fact that the movie rights have been sold to this since 2015 and a movie has not been made has my mind absolutely blown. When I tell you, look at all of these tabs. I quite literally bought a pack of tabs and the very last tab was used on the last page. The amount of things that are highlighted in here. But you know what? This video is about annotating. So let's jump into that real quick. If this was my full-time job, I would never not annotate a book again. I honestly think that took this from being an amazing book read to an absolutely magical experience. I've talked in my previous book slump video about romanticizing reading, and I did that here. I turned on music, candles, we had the fancy drinks, we had everything. But what I have not had before is annotating. First of all, I could have easily read this book probably in 1 or 2 days. There was never a single chapter that didn't end in a way that made it impossible for me to put this book down. I wish I had read this in a 24-hour reading challenge. I could have easily gotten through it. Honestly, I might do that with book 2 and 3.
maybe I shouldn't have recorded this right after finishing it, because all I can think about right now is how obsessed I am with this book. How I really just want to pick up the second book in the series, but no, I can't. You wanna know why? I still have 600 pages of Kingdom of Ash, that's why. Annotating has changed the reading game. Annotating forced me to read slowly. It also forced me to read very intently. The way that the author uses color to describe things, I almost wanted to have an entirely different color for every single time she compared a feeling or an emotion to a color. And she does it spot on every single time. It was like next level author. I'm about to read every single book that Stephanie Garber has ever written, because her writing style is unparalleled. The way she writes things so concisely, but at the same time in such thought-provoking detail. I felt like I was living this novel. I have not felt that way about a book in a very long time. Okay, she's only written these 2 trilogies. Okay, the fact that this is her first published book, this book had no business being this good. I know it's only January, but this is my favorite book of the year. The way this book made me feel. I want to live in this world. I need this world to exist, frankly. I will say I was starting to get into a reading slump. This just catapulted me out of it. All I want to do now is read and nothing else. Stephanie Garber, you changed my life. Okay, it's taking everything in me not to pick up book 2 and book 3. Okay, but why we're really here, annotating. So here's the hard thing. I want to just show it all to you, but I really don't want to accidentally spoil anything. So there are some portions where I was like highlighting as I was reading, and so I didn't realize at the time how much I was gonna highlight while I was highlighting. And I added little notes. This was the first series in a while that I needed them to fall in love, and I needed them to be perfect together. Cause okay, y'all, Red is like swooning. Red is in my feels. You see how much red is in this book? Stephanie, what did you do to me? I have an addiction. You see those words? I'm screaming. I was screaming. And I want to say I was screaming internally, but I think I definitely actually screamed a lot out loud while reading this book. What? This book gave me all the plot twists and actual, like, unpredictable, life-changing information that I hoped the Inheritance games would give me that it lacked. And I feel like because I was so disappointed from the Inheritance games books, I was like not having super high standards for this one. I thought it might be the same. And when I tell you, I'm usually pretty good at predicting book endings, I could not have predicted any of this. This is like Now You See Me level mind twisting. This is Inception level mind twisting. If you've ever seen The Prestige with like the 2 magicians who were tricking each other, that level of mind blown. There were some chapters that just had my jaw open the entire time. There's only 100 pages left, and look at all the tabs in there. More red, because I'm in love. More red. I will say, I'm surprised my red highlighter held out for this whole book, because more red. And then the epilogue. Something I love that I feel like I haven't gotten from a good book in a long time is when the book ends with like a really good resolution and you're just like, yes, I feel good about this. Like, this book was a whirlwind, but at least it ended perfectly. Like, I could not have imagined a better ending. And then there was like an epilogue of 3 pages. It's taking everything in me not to pick up the second book right now. It's taunting me over on my bookshelf. It's just taunting me. Okay, honestly, I could make this video last forever, either trying to convince you to read this book series or trying to convince you to start annotating your books. But if you're looking to start annotating your books, honestly, there is no better book to start with than this trilogy. Anyone who asks me for a book recommendation, I'm gonna tell them they have to read this. There is no one way to annotate your books. Have a good idea of the themes of the book. For example, I knew that this book was about relationships, specifically between sisters. I knew that this book had a lot of plot twists. I knew that this book was very artistically written, but that is all I knew. So I chose colors and a system based off of that. And if you want to adapt your system as you go, that is totally fine. Frankly, you're annotating this for yourself, not for other people. Just pick up a book, preferably Caraval, and just start reading and literally just underline wherever your heart says this is a good thing to underline. That's it. I really have nothing else to say.